Whoa, it's the Illusion reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth. I'm heading down the hill to do the Illusion live thing. Live on Sundays. I thought I would make a little supplemental, concise video. Being crazy's tough. What's crazy, man? What is crazy? You know, Bukowski said, what did Charles Bukowski said? If you think, I'm paraphrasing this completely, but basically, if you think you're sane living in this society, you're crazy. So, right, being an observer of the reality and trying to figure out the reality I'm experiencing and digging into the truth about what this is all about unlocks all sorts of doors of perception. And I think that exploration comes from a deep-seated disharmony with this experience. And so, by its very nature, I think that it's a split in reality. I personally can't be content in a certain aspect of this human experience. I can't be, and I have to use all sorts of other tools to override my discontent with this experience. I used to use drugs and alcohol, but they stopped working. So I had to really focus on my spiritual path and my relationship with God. And yet my body will take over. I don't know completely what it is, though I don't have a lot of control over it sometimes. You know, I can do whatever I can to reduce the percentage of crazy, i.e. eat a better diet, take care of myself, exercise, go for walks, read spiritual literature, meditate, do art, make sure I'm making conscious contact with God all throughout that. And yet, the craziness lies in my inability to remember all this. It's just tough. And I remember I was working with this girl a couple years ago at the rehab, and you know, I was talking about how some mornings I wake up underwater and I'm completely screwed. It's like pushing against 10,000 pounds of water. I wake up underwater, right? And I was like, do you ever wake up like that? And she's like, no, not at all. I wake up in a perfectly good mood every day. And I was like, wow, that is the most amazing concept ever to me. Because I don't know what that is. I truly don't know what it is to be emotionally sober 100% of the time. Consistent. It's a struggle for me, man. Sometimes it's a minute by minute struggle. You know, you could label it bipolar, manic, whatever kind of goofy label you want to put on it, or what I choose to understand it as a spiritual malady. I have a spiritual malady, and my spiritual malady is a thirst for understanding about my relationship with God, with this experience I'm having through my five senses. And yet I'm operating with such limited information. You know, I talk a lot about this, the five senses, and how limited the information that we receive with the five senses is, and how that information is filtered by our mind to even less information. So, you know, let's use the analogy. This is if a deck of cards has 52 playing cards and 4 suits, you know, I've got, I think under my best case scenario, I'm working with 12 cards. 12 cards, and those cards are never the same 12 cards. So I'm getting glimpses at the whole 52. I'm getting glimpses that there's 4 different suits. I'm getting getting glimpses of all sorts of information, and yet I'm never actually seeing all 52 cards at once. And that lack of information is a struggle. It's a real struggle of harmony, because I'm irritable and discontent with this limited knowledge, and this limited knowledge affects me in ways that as I age, I begin to understand more. I listen to if you check out a lot of these spiritual guys like Neil Kramer and stuff, they talk about how it takes, decades to figure out certain aspects of this journey towards spiritual understanding, and the fact that you probably never will totally understand what's going on here, spiritually speaking. And that knowledge of itself can be very disheartening and very tough to muster past. And so being in this state of two worlds at once, I'm of this world, this 5 sense 3D experience, but I'm also of this other spiritual world of infinite knowledge and infinite wisdom and infinite understanding of all directions of time and space. And these realities clash, and sometimes I'm in the world of the 5 senses, and yet I have knowledge of this other world, and I'm like, why am I stuck over in this limited world? And it causes me to not be in harmony with it. And yet I'll be over in this other world of the 5 senses, and I'll almost have to shut the door on this other infinite world to truly be in harmony in the 5 senses. But I can't shut that door. There's no going back. It's that thing of the train has left the station, and it is the crazy train. And I think anyone who's waking up or is aiming towards this spiritual goal of harmony and unity with self and source and God has a tough time, because I don't see it as easy. Maybe it is for some people, but that's just not my experience. It's been tough lately in that sense of I know better, and yet I still behave poorly in the operating system of the 5 senses and the 3D landscape. And within that is this disharmony, and this disharmony totally freaks me out and makes me emotionally unstable, right? And that's crazy town. So I have to, I got an email the other day about when you're lost, how do you find contact with God, and how do you dig through all of this to get back to the thing? And it's always this simple thing of just, I think it's 4 letters uttered in ultimate sincerity. It's just help. And it's not a kind of help that's it's just the understanding that I'm clueless, man. And yet within that cluelessness, I think, is all the data of all right, just stop figuring it out. Stop inflicting yourself on yourself. Stop digging. Put the shovel down. All of these kind of things. To resist is to suffer. All these things, but yet the knowledge is fleeting. And I think that is the craziness. I think the craziness for me is knowing, right? They say the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again and hoping for a different result. And I think that, that's part of the human experience. Is we're going to keep trying to get the same result from the same failing actions over and over again, when it's no, we got to readjust our whole machine. And I'm going through a recalibration period, a heavy duty recalibration period that, I didn't see coming, but I think's totally necessary. it's heavy, man. Like, oh, wow, dude, school's back in session again. Thought it was summer break till the end. No, school is back in session. It's time to get in the desk, sharpen my pencils, get out a bunch of scratch paper, and really focus in on what the teacher is trying to show me, what the teacher is trying to teach me. And the only way to I was listening, caught this little tale of something out there in the last couple days, was just forget everything you know. If you want to learn something, forget everything you know about it. And I go, that's pretty profound advice. If you want to learn something, forget everything you know about it. All right. See, like, that's half the reason I make these videos is because, like, I'm working it out, like, live time, dude. When I push the play button, I don't know, I just went for it. And then I figured out, like, that little nugget at the end. Because I heard it the other day, but I hadn't fit it into the machine yet. All right, that helps. That helps. Because I think I know something. I don't. I got to forget that I know anything about everything. All right, this is The Illusion signing off. I'm going to go do the live thing here in 20 minutes. All right? Well, I guess that doesn't mean anything, like, time-wise. At 6:30 p.m. Obviously, I wasn't going to do it today. I was fully going to, like, chicken out because I was like, and then I'm like, nah, I gotta go do this thing, man, right? That's what it's about. It's about showing up in life. You have to show up, dude. I made a commitment to myself to be there at 6:30 live on Sundays, dude. I'm doing it, man. I'm not gonna flake out on this deal. Anyway, that's The Illusion signing off.